Hey guys, welcome on to the channel today. Recently I went ahead and made some changes in the shop. I added some new lighting, and also I moved my drill press over here closer to my woodworking stuff. I found out after a while that I use it for drilling through wood a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I'd be using it for more like drilling through metal, but that's not the case, and I didn't want my torch set over here anymore. So that ended up getting moved over here to behind my shoulder. But one thing, after moving, I saw that I had some empty space behind me on this wall, and like always, I want to utilize as much space as possible. We have a lot of hand planes right here, and I'm wanting to build another shelf on there to hold even more. But one thing I have been missing and wanting for quite a while is a drill bit storage, or like auger bit storage and drill press accessories. So that's what we're gonna work on today. Cleaned up the bench a little bit and put some of the stuff that I want to have inside of the cabinet. Little sanding papers. These things look great for whenever you have little curves. Regular drill bits. You can see that I'm missing some of these, but I'm going to be ending up filling them in. But I have another case that is complete, and I'm going to be putting these inside of the cabinet and just filling in the ones that I'm missing. I have a whole bunch of auger bits. This I don't think I'm going to throw in there. Then we go over here and we have some Forstner bits, and as you can see I have two sets, and these are basically the exact same thing. You have the small and then the big ones. When you guys buy a Forstner bit set, just go ahead and get the big set, because you'll end up needing it for different size holes and stuff like that. I didn't think I'd need it, but I ended up having to upgrade, and now I have double of some of these smaller ones, and these are all the exact same ones that are in here. So we're going to be putting both of these together and trying to get them all combined together. So I have no real plans for this, and I'm kind of building it just based off of the area that I'm going to be working in. So I know that I want it to be at least 2 feet wide, or I know I want it 2 feet wide overall. And then I think I'm going to be putting some doors on the front of it just to kind of help keep dust out of the cabinet when not in use. Went and built this a long time ago, and having the doors on here has proved very helpful for keeping dust out of it. And also I've been able to add some storage in the front of that as well, with pegs and stuff like that. So we're going to be staying with that concept of having some doors. It's probably not going to be deep with the doors. I'll probably just have the doors just doors. Maybe be able to put some holes in there and then hooks like a pegboard maybe. Not too sure yet. That's still to come, probably in another video. Today's video is pretty much going to be making the carcass of it and installing shelves and getting the stuff inside of it. So bringing it the 2 feet would give me plenty of space in between here. And then if I made it, let's say 4 feet would probably be too big. So let's do 3 feet and see what happens. Because I'm thinking about adding a drawer in the very bottom to hold things like those small sandpaper pieces, because even though I'll be having these in there on a mount, all these little sandpaper accessories won't be, and so I'm gonna have to have these somewhere. So a small little drawer in the bottom, something that would fit into like a little cubby hole like here, would be very nice. So I pulled out the piece of plywood that I'll be making the sides for, or like the outside frame, and it is actually 5 feet exactly. Just a hair over 5 feet. And I started looking at my cabinet up here on the wall, and that is just over 2.5 feet by about 3 feet wide, or just 2.5. So it's a 2.5 by 2.5 square cabinet, and I like that size. It's not too big, and it's easy to move around if I need to ever. And if I want to put this on a French cleat, it won't be overweighted with the size of the actual frame. So I think I'm going to end up making this only 2.5 feet then I can just rip down whatever strip I want and then cut it in half, and it will be perfect just for the sides of the cabinets. I decided to make the depth of my cabinet, the carcass, be 5 inches deep. I'm going to try to do some dovetails on there. It's been a real long time since I've done dovetails, but I want to see what it does with the plywood and see if I can actually get it done. So we'll see. So I'm going to cut one strip down at, or I'm going to cut 2 strips down at 5 inches. One will be for the 2 sides and one will be for the top and the bottom. I'm going to be making my top and the bottom right now, or just cutting these 2 pieces out, and these are going to be cut at 2 feet. So I'm going to make my mark right there. We'll get this one cut. Went ahead and got my first set of dovetails marked out. We're going to try to, I got finished marking the tops. Going to get this sawed out and then do one of the top or bottoms and just see how it turns out. And that will either make my drill box even smaller, or we'll have a dovetailed drill bit box. So let me go ahead and get these cut out and we'll see what happens. So I got one of my corners done, and it was a nice little trial and error going back and doing a dovetail joint. These are very strong joints, and that's one reason why I really wanted to use it, and because they look pretty cool. Let's say there's plenty of room for improvement always. That's what it the first one looks like. I got 3 more corners to do, and I got this one bad corner where the piece of plywood was sitting and it got stained by something. So I've also got that other bottom, and these 2 will be joined together. That way I have one bad looking corner. I guess that's where I should have started first, is that bad looking corner, and then try to improve after that. Nonetheless, we'll get this taken back apart and start getting the other ones done. Alright guys, so we went ahead and got all of our dovetails all cut out, and I've already assembled the entire carcass, and as I was breaking it apart, I actually almost broke one of the tails, so I didn't want to go any further with that and try to keep on putting it together. But one of the things that I have to do now is go ahead and make the groove around the inside of the frame, so that we can put in the backer piece. With these right here, where you cut off the 2 ends, these are very easy to create your groove. You don't have to worry about any stops. And I have this little plane right here that creates a nice groove. I believe this is a 1/4 inch wide, or maybe a 3/16. I think it's a 1/4 inch, and it works perfect. I've already went ahead and tested it out on the board that we're going to be using, just to make sure that it fits. And as you can see, this is what it does. So you can see that with these, you just keep on going right through the end of your board, and if you have knots or anything, I accidentally chipped this out, but it's gonna be on the back side of the material anyway, so it's gonna be okay. I started chipping it right away and just continued to work on through it, and then I had my son helping me, and he kind of made it a little bit worse, but he had fun doing it. So I stopped a little bit short on this from the depth that I wanted, and we're just gonna go ahead and get this set up. Make sure that you have your marks on here so that you don't do your groove on the wrong side. We're just gonna let that overhang a little bit and get this prepared and ready to get it planed down. And this is making some very nice curly shavings. And I hit a knot. And it's going through the different layers of the plywood too. So I'm not going to go too deep with this just because I don't want to put a lot of wear and tear on the plane. Or cause it to start chipping out on that side either. So. And that's it for this one as well. You can see it's got a nice little groove in there, and we'll end up being able to set that board right back in there, and it'll kind of hide it, tuck it away. So let's work on the other pieces. So now that we've gotten our easy parts all grooved out, we're gonna work on the little bit more difficult part. I've already cut my first one, and what you have to do is actually make a stopped groove, because you don't want to have this run all the way through and it actually show up on your project. And this is just a shop project, so it's a lot of practice. Good for you to do practice and stuff like that, and doing the stop dados, stuff like that is perfect. So the way you do this is you still have to use your hand plane that we've been using. If you have a router and you choose to go that route, you would just make 2 stops on your router table, put your board onto the bit, move it over till it hit the stop, and then you would lift it up and you would have your stopped groove or stop dado. But with a hand plane, what you actually do is you have to start a little bit inside, just like you would with a router, and then you would pick it up near the end. So you got to know where your blade is and start like a 1/4 inch in on your little pin or tail, and you would want to just run that along like you would the other side or the other pieces. Knot. And then right when you get to the end, you would go a little bit into it again and you would pick back up. So I'm starting here at the very beginning and just running it along the edge like we did on the other pieces. And then right before I get all the way to the end, I pick up. And you guys can see how it leaves a little bit of a mark there where you can see where we picked it up at. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this part, and then we'll show you the next step of creating this. Alright, so I've gotten as far as I really wanted to go in on my groove, and as you can see, I stopped right here and it's flush almost right on this end, and there's only like this much more material that we have to remove compared to this side where you got about 3 inches. But your hand plane is longer on the back side, that's why you can't really get in there as deep. So now, ideally you would want to have a matching size chisel, but the smallest one that I have is a 1/4 inch, which is a little bit bigger. So when I go to do this, it's going to leave a little bit bigger of a gap here on the ends. That's okay, this is a shop project. I know for the future I need to be on the lookout for some smaller chisels. And but let's go ahead and get this part done. Alright, so the way that I first start off is I know that I want to have my stop right here. And so I'll put this end down on, I'll just kind of make a little bit of mark, and I'll just kind of peel away at it until I get the correct depth that I'm wanting. So that's about as deep as I want to go on that side. And the plywood is definitely a challenge to work with, because if you do anything wrong, you can actually bust out that little side, like if you rolled over your hand plane. And I'm just gonna be working it along until I feel like I'm at almost the same depth all the way through. Alright, so I think I'm fairly close on that. You guys can see that there's like a piece of plywood, another layer starting to show right through there, and I'm already through right here. So this side should be deep enough, my groove should be far enough in that the board will match up with the other dovetails. And I'll go ahead and get the other side cut. And here is the other side. I got it about just as far into the end as I did the other one, but this side seems like it's a lot cleaner, and this is the 4th one that I did. So this is the first stop dado that I've ever done, so this worked out pretty well. Watched lots of videos on it, guys, but never have done it myself. So stop dado by hands, check that off the list. It fits. It's tight, but it fits. After a little bit of beating and pounding to get the dovetails all together, we've got it all in the clamps and we've got it drying, so we gotta wait a little while. I got a heater on in here to keep the glue good, so hopefully it'll dry within the next couple hours, and I'm probably gonna leave it sitting overnight and then work on the shelving in a different time. So that's all I'm gonna get done for this video. I'm gonna start working on the other stuff in a little bit. We still got the shelves to do and the doors. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today and got something out of it. Learned how to do the stop dados, a little bit of hand tool work with the hand planes, stuff like that. This is just a shop project, but I wanted to practice a little bit of joinery. The plywood is not an ideal thing for it, but it is what it is. It was good practice. I did have some issues where I broke off a couple pieces of plywood and just kind of had to glue them back in place, but I mean, it's gonna be just here in the shop. It's not getting sold or anything like that. Thanks guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, hit that thumbs up button. If you guys are new, welcome to the channel, and also hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys on the next video. Be on the lookout for part 2, where we go over the shelving and also creating some front doors for this thing to help keep some of that dust out. See you guys next time.